So often in life, we have questions. We have questions about how our life is going, how it should go, what we should be doing better in order to make it move forward in a more holistic, better manner. And we're looking for a friend to talk to. Sometimes we're looking at a professional and seeking guidance. However, more often than not, all of these advices either seem repetitive or they seem oh so boring. But no more, the wait is now done. Now there is a book that I had loved to share with you, which is called Live Camera Action. All right. This is something that is going to completely redefine the way that you look at enriching your life. And today I am super, super delighted to have a conversation with none other than Veena Dhandia, the author of Live Camera Action, puts the spotlight on you. All right, Veena. Welcome aboard. It is lovely, as always, to catch up with you and your vibrant, smiling face.
Thank you so much, Geetika, for this. And you are, of course, the all-ever dynamic, energetic, soulful person that I love to connect with. So thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you. My pleasure, Veena. My pleasure. So it's absolutely been an amazing journey, Veena, from my perspective, to have every conversation, be it about the book or even, at the edges of our live camera and action, right? So it's been such an amazing, lovely journey. And so I thought that this would be a great idea for readers also now to hear more from the author's voice itself as to how this amazing book came to be. But before we get on to that, Veena, first of all, how does it feel to be a published author?
Geetika, it's inexplicable. In the sense, I'm just feeling awesome. And to put it in tangible words, if you want to put it that way, I feel as though I put a stamp on myself. I have actually, put it down in writing, and that's kind of like proof to myself. Okay, that I've actually written a book, and that feeling is like, I just go blank sometimes, and I feel accepted by myself. So I mean, like, I could go on and on, but
no, absolutely.
awesome.
I think just writing a book itself is such a self-fulfilling journey, I know we write for other people to read, but really at the end of the day, I truly believe that it is almost like a gift to oneself, right?
Yes.
So then tell me, Veena, where did you get this idea from to write a book? Is it something that it just kind of struck you recently, or is it that a thought which you had for a long period of time and then there was a trigger that you went for it? How did this happen?
Yes, so actually I have always been in love with words, with phrases, with writing and making meanings out of nothing, creating things, or writing small scripts for sangeets or little plays, on and off. So this kind of stuff went on. And I always did have at the back of the mind that I did want to write something someday. But you know how it is, I put it this way, that I was always interested, but not motivated or committed enough.
Right.
I think I would use those words because, the moment I felt that I was being committed was when the action actually started.
True.
Oh, yeah. So, and the trigger was, incidentally, I just happened to see you on Instagram. Your ad on Instagram and, the book workshop. And I just kind of looked at you intently and I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to give this a shot.
Oh.
So, yeah, it was almost literally like that. So I just, went in for your workshop. And once I got into your workshop and I felt, okay, let me try this. So try this. And I did start writing. I moved forward with you. And I wrote one chapter. And I showed it to you. Of course, all the other chapters then like purely mine. But the first chapter, I just wanted you to see it, to see whether it had any meaning. Did it have any value? Did it sound or anything like something to you move on with? And when you said I would buy this book. That's when
Yeah. Right,
I said,
right.
okay, I'm going to go all out on this, and do whatever I can. And actually thoroughly enjoyed the process. And before I knew it, I wrote the book in under 3 weeks. But I'd like to share what held me back. I
Oh,
think, what held me back.
please do, because like you rightly said, who doesn't actually want to be a published author, and have their name on the book, have their thoughts, written in stone forever, right? However, something or the other keeps holding most of us back, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the readers would definitely like to know what was it that held you back to, and then how you overcame that.
Well, I think, also, before I just answer that question, the moment I became a life coach and speaker
Hmm.
was then when I realized that I need to raise my credibility in my own eyes. And not only that, I felt I was unable to reach out to as many people as I wanted to.
Okay.
And so this was my answer to myself. A book, as we all know, is one of the best ways to reach out to masses of people.
Yeah.
Right? So, but what held me back was, first of all, like you said, like I said, the commitment.
Yeah.
Okay, here I have to do this. All right. Secondly, the know-how. I had zero knowledge of how to go about it, and just the thought of the technicalities of the ISBN and the copyright. And what do you write first and what do you write later? Is it going to be good? It was just like too daunting. So I never really put my mind to it in a proper way, and I didn't really think about it deeply enough. And I think that is really what held me back. But once I touched the surface through the workshop, I just felt, okay, no, this is possible. And I can do it. And I'm not saying that, this is the best book ever. No way at all. I'm like just a little ant in the ocean. But it was just a wonderful feeling to feel that, okay, I've actually managed to do it. Yeah. So what held me back, wasn't a holding back anymore then.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very true. And I think with a lot of us, the reason is often not the fact that, the doubt of whether or not we can write, but it's just like a big unknown ocean in terms of how is it that the writing process goes, and then how is it, what happens after you've written, post writing, the publishing and all of that stuff, which kind of just feels overwhelming and too daunting, like you said, to even kind of take a baby step forward.
Yeah. I mean, loving the language and loving words and the play of words, that's all okay. But I mean, like, what then?
Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah, process matters, system matters. If, like I say, if you can start putting the pieces of the jigsaw together, I mean, you have all the pieces, but then once you start putting them together, it all just kinds of makes
I
sense.
didn't have the pieces earlier because I didn't know what the pieces were supposed to be.
Yeah, very true. Yes, absolutely. So tell me, once you started writing, okay? So of course, the first initial thing is the baby step, like you said, signing up. Let's say, first of all, deciding that I need to kind of give it a shot, signing up for the workshop. Second is getting that confidence and that feeling that, yeah, some light bulbs have gone on, and now I have few of the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle with me. I'm like empowered now. I probably can do it. Then, of course, it is the step of taking a decision, making a move, right? Which not everybody does, which you did, right? Which makes all of the difference. So once you got into the writing process, then did you kind of face any challenges, or what was your probably toughest moment in the writing process? I know there were the amazing highs, but what about the lows? Was there any challenge that you faced?
To tell you the truth, it was the know-how and the procedure and the push. And apart from that, to be very honest, I just enjoyed, once I started writing, and every night I would think, "Kini aaj likhna hai," and I'm going to write, or every second day I'd be writing. Otherwise, I don't think I'm going to ever finish in under like 3 weeks. But
that is like an amazing feat. I keep telling people it's possible, and people say, this is like maybe a marketing tactic. but
No,
you
no,
know,
no.
this is possible. Veena
No,
is
no,
like
no.
giving
No,
proof.
but I was totally surprised with myself.
Mhm.
And the toughest moment was actually the feeling that I want to be able to give value, but I wanted to give value to people in the simplest way possible.
Yeah.
I didn't want this big book to be a very in-depth, it is in-depth, definitely. Every sentence has a meaning and every tip and technique is powerful and, tried and tested. But I wanted something that would reach out to even a 60-year-old or even a 15-year-old. So the challenge was, what do I write? But somehow, I don't know how it happened, Geetika, when I sat down to write it and you gave me the snowflake method,
Hmm.
or the roadmap or the mind map, you call it. And I just I just said, okay, I want to write about myself in different areas of my life, which is not a new thing to anyone. But this was my version of what worked for me. And I had so many experiences throughout my life. So the challenges were also, one challenge was, how much do I write of myself?
Ah,
I
right.
didn't want to, but I felt, I needed to share experiences. So that is also very important. And the challenge was more the technicality because I'm very comfortable with the language.
Yeah, correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, to be very honest, it was just the technicalities and the know-how was a challenge.
Yeah, it's like, how much should I write? Because one has to find a fine balance between sharing a lot of insights, your personal anecdotes, which gets your personal, unique, individual perspective on that topic, and also keeping a fine balance with ensuring that it doesn't become like a personal rant.
Right, right.
When you're going on.
And to make it as interesting as possible,
Yes,
because this was not a fiction book,
yes,
right?
yes.
So it's not a story with all the
But the
excitement and
principles
the
of
thrills.
writing non-fiction versus fiction are
Yeah,
very.
and there's so many greats out there. And I was like, nonfiction, how do I make it? So I added a bit of my performing arts angle to it.
Yes.
And so it just made me feel good.
No, absolutely. It's good that you mentioned that, Veena, because, one of the things that I find so inspiring about you, Veena, is that you want so many hats in your life, right? And I think that's the real way of living life. Most of us, I think what we do is from the age of 15, we just like asked to choose our careers, then choose our education line, then choose our jobs, choose our spouses, and then tick mark all the things in life, and then just kind of live within the bubble. Yeah, and you even have, after having done all of that, you have managed to keep evolving. And every time I think I speak to you, you say, "Ha, मैंने पता ये भी करा है." And I'm like, yeah, ye bhi kara hai. Kam kara? Kaise kara? So now you share with me the secret behind this multifaceted personality of yours.
No, no. Geetika, to tell you the truth, I have been down that road. And I just feel you just need to, it's like know thyself, okay? And accept thyself. I have gone through that road where I was trying to hone down on one thing. Because as people say, not only people, I also felt if we focus on one thing, you can do so much more with that one thing. I always had that in mind. But somehow I couldn't. Because everything that came my way, and if I was passionate about it, I would do it. And then this came, and then I would do that. If anchoring came, I would do that. If it was acting or modeling, I would do that. And if it was, women empowerment programs, and I love the topic, I love the feel of it, I would do that. So I just kind of kept on doing it. And I got, really speaking, this is part of my story, I got a little frustrated with myself. And I was like, why can't I put myself, into a smaller niche, or what you call it? You have to have a niche. But then somehow I just accepted myself. I said, Veena, this is you. You can't do one thing in your life, only one thing in your life ever. All right. So just accept yourself. Enjoy it. Love it. So if you're doing performing arts also, and you also you have Move Ahead and Sangam as your empowering clubs, and you also are a life coach and a speaker or a corporate trainer, as long as you're doing justice to whatever extent you can. Of course, there's always a front seat and a back seat.
Right.
Okay. Everything can't be like
priorities, as they call it.
Yeah.
which also keeps shifting from time to time, rightly so.
Yeah. So it's a different chapter in your life at different points in time. So, like, my chapter now until the time I dangle in my grave, I think will be this whole
No,
writer.
you won't dangle, you'll be dancing.
like the life coach, speaker, and the mentor, that particular whole area is what really I want to leave. It's my purpose in life now. It's a legacy. But at the same time, I anchored four programs in the last 2 months, wedding programs. I
Oh,
still did that as well. So yeah, so
wow.
I
Yeah.
just
See,
enjoy what I do.
every time we speak, something new comes up.
I think just live life to your fullest, and really, this is my motto, not only for myself but for everyone else. And so I just said, yeah, okay. So I'm just going to do everything and enjoy it. So that's why people do call me multifaceted, but this is the story behind it.
Yeah, no, I love the way that you put it, Veena. Like, do a lot of things, but whatever you pick up as your priority at that point of time and in that chapter of life, give it your full, give it like your 100%. Which is why I also, I'm from the same school of thought that do a lot of things. However, do one thing at a time well. you know
Yes.
People try to become like jugglers, especially with us women. The more we juggle, the more we think people say that we are super women. However, I personally feel that pick up one thing at a time, do it well, then move on to the next, move on to the next, move on to the next. Like, don't make a like a khichdi out of it. So
Yes, but it's amazing how this particular area, when you're writing a book or when you're in this particular area that I am in now, it actually permeates into everything else I'm doing. Everything, even with performing arts or the move ahead programs, it's amazing how it actually permeates into.
like the domino effect. You do one thing right, and then cut, everything else also kind of, it starts rubbing off.
Actually now come together for me instead of like just dissipating. It's actually all come together to me now. My jigsaw puzzle seems. Jigsaw puzzle seems.
So good. I can see exactly why you went with that tagline of the book, focus the spotlight on you, because I think that's exactly what you have done in your life. You've focused the spotlight on you from a self discovery, a self growth perspective. And I think once you start doing that, you discover that there is so much more to you than meets the eye, than even meets your eye, right? And that's how you're able to do much more than what you'd even kind of dreamt of.
And don't feel guilty about it. At one point, I felt guilty about doing so many things and not focusing on one thing. But I'm not guilty about myself, about what I'm doing anymore. I'm really, truly happy.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And absolutely. I know a lot of people, and especially women, struggle with that, the guilt syndrome. That if you're doing something for ourselves, oh my God, we shouldn't. We're supposed to self-less. But yeah, absolutely. Hey, if I'm not good, how can I do good?
No, I come out of that. You tell me to play table tennis, I'll play table tennis. If you tell me to play chess, I'll play chess.
Brilliant.
Happy with myself.
Brilliant. That's fantastic, Veena. So, anybody who's actually inspired you in your journey? Anybody in particular, or how has it been for you?
Well, to tell you the truth, I think every person that has been close to me in my life, and I'm not just saying it for the sake of it, has been an inspiration to me. Like, there have been things that I've learned from people near and far, but more with the people that I connect with on a regular basis. And I'm actually able to imbibe something from them and put it into action. But if I were to name a few people, I would say my dad. Okay. So in one line, he inspired me to be the kind of dynamic person or the energetic person that I would like to think of myself as, because I just feel that energy with me most of the time. I won't say all the time, but most of the time it's there. And from my mom, who has taught me, her inspiration for me has been live your life to the fullest, whatever the situation is. So she has served my dad in his illness for 17 years, and I've seen each year how she did it. So it's like she made the best of it. and she never whined or complained. So that's number two. Number three, of course, my sons. They are my heart. They are my.
Come back and
Yeah,
excellent.
I've actually dedicated the book to them. Why? Because they have egged me on, encouraged me, and uplifted. And we've done it for each other, of course, but they've done it for my passions and desires. And they never put me into a box, or like put me into a box and that's it. And then I will definitely mention my daughters-in-law and my other relatives, my family, my friends. I am blessed. And I just feel if you practice gratitude, you just feel blessed with everywhere around you. And why will everyone not be an inspiration to you in some way or the other?
Wow.
So this is the general thing, and the few people that I've named that, if someone's looking for
like pillars of strength in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
I love that. And I think that's the approach which, helps you stay positive and also walk away from every situation, every aspect of life, bigger, better, right? Because you're not focusing on what you don't have part. You're focusing on what you have, what you can get out of the situation, add that onto it. So your life becomes more about additions rather than subtractions.
Absolutely. You've got it. You've hit the nail on the head, Deepika. We all have to be continuous learners.
Yeah.
We can even learn from all the negative people around us, so we can learn what not to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have a long list of that.
And that helps us grow, and that helps us to help other people to grow as well. I mean, it's just all like, entertainment. I can go on forever.
The top line on my list of what not to do is not to shoot the people who piss me off and these negative people in my life. So I'm sticking to that. Yeah. So you must be having a lot of negative people also across the world because you are so well traveled, Veena.
No, it's kind of like look into the mirror and curse all that you want.
Yeah.
To that person. But then when you look at him with impartiality and sympathy. Ooh, and you're fine. And you're fine.
I like that approach.
I mean, you have, offloaded yourself. You have said everything you wanted to. Say it in the mirror about the person that you're all the negative person or the person you really don't like, whatever. Like you are this and you this.
Why carry the burden? Why carry the burden of all that negativity on yourself? Absolutely. Why punish yourself? Right. But yeah, people are ultimately the same all over the world. But tell me, you've traveled so much and you've lived also in different parts of the world, in India as well as overseas. So it's interesting, do you think living this kind of what I call global citizen life has kind of impacted your thinking in terms of life or in terms of even the book?
Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. I grew up in Hong Kong. And of course, I've been in India for years and I have a lot of connections otherwise in the States and other places. And I'm well traveled. Yes, but I definitely feel it makes a lot of a difference. The main thing is you will understand other people's perspective, their point of view. You learn the meaning of diversity and respecting differences.
Yeah.
Respecting
differences, absolutely. It's not about accepting them, it's about respecting them, Very
then the respect for each other doesn't crumble. So I think, even with the book, when we write it and we have that kind of thought in mind, that's why what I've written in the book applies to anyone, whether you're living in the West or whether you're living in the East. So I've not made it, a totally Indian this thing or a totally Western, because the thought processes are definitely very, very different. So there's a blend of East and West in me has taught me these things. They have taught me these things. And I think it's just impacted positively the better understanding of the human mind. Okay. And like I said, I feel I'm a continuous learner. So I'll never say that I know the human mind perfectly. There's no such thing as perfect, but you can always aim to be excellent in what you do. You can't look for perfection. So the book is also a non-fiction self-help book, right? Yeah. So, I mean, all my topics on, self and the relationship and emotional health, they just seem to automatically gel with anyone and everyone. So that's how it's helped the book
Yeah.
in that sense. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think whilst there are cultural differences all across the globe, but the bottom underlying thing, the
Yeah.
humane emotions, the doubts that creep up inside of us, the thoughts that cross us, the obstacles that come in our path are very, very similar, whether you're born in India or Africa or
Yeah.
US or Europe, right?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that having this kind of a blended
Yes.
experience of growing up, has kind of given you a unique perspective, which a lot of us are not blessed with. But, I think it helps when also, I'm pretty sure in your life coaching, in your mentoring, that helps to uncover facets of people which might otherwise go unnoticed,
Yeah.
right?
But you need to be conscious also about, wanting to understand. So if you have an open mind to the Western culture or their thought processes, but you're also steeped in the Indian
Yeah,
culture.
yeah, yeah.
So it's like, keeping both things in mind.
Correct,
I
correct.
am able to, like, no matter if the person is a drug addict, I will never feel anti towards him.
Mm.
Because, you always look from the point of view of what happened.
Yeah, it's not like a taboo thing, or neither is it passing judgment. It is
Yes.
more about empathy and trying to understand, be in their shoes and understand where they're coming from, so that
Yeah.
you can get to the root.
I'm not saying encouraging them, but then, trying to understand where they're coming from and
Yes.
what is happening. So, like, so whether it's in the book, whether the topic is relationship, whether it's emotional well-being, whether it's your passion, whether it's social circle, the general norms, especially in relationships, are the same. Whether you're living abroad, if you don't have a good relationship with your father, you could be someone living in India or someone living in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True.
okay. The thought process is different, which is why you have to have either tips and techniques or thought processes that gel with them or gel
Right.
with them.
So I know. Of course, the ones who've been the smart ones who've read your book already know a lot about it, but the ones who have not, for their benefit, why don't you tell us a little bit about the book, Veena?
Okay, so Gitika, as you know, the book's title is Life, Camera, Action. And again, like I said, I blended performing arts. So each chapter has a trailer. So for the interest of people listening, it has a trailer, it has a climax, it has scenes, it has a villain. All right, so you guys pick up the book to know why that is there and how it's there. So basically, it delves into all different areas of your life. And if I'm going to put it into one sentence, trying to empower yourself. Okay, so these are my three words that I use: empower yourself to enrich your life further and evolve from an extraordinary person to an extraordinary person. I will never call a person ordinary. No one is
I
ordinary.
like that.
They are already extraordinary. But then to take you to the next level of success and happiness is what this book is all about. If I'm going to, just kind of put it into a nutshell. So, yeah, so just it has and it's a very simple book. It's a simple book with simple language.
Yeah. Yeah,
Simple.
I think that's one thing beautiful, which I also loved about the book. The fact that it's very relatable, and it's very readable, both the things.
Yes.
Relatable because I think you've shared so beautifully, anecdotes and short pieces from your life,
Yes.
which a lot of us can also relate to, and readable because it's not like somebody who's trying to impress you, but rather somebody who's connecting to you.
Connecting, correct. You got the right word. And, even the tips and techniques are simple,
Yeah.
but they're all powerful. And they've been tried and tested.
And of course, the way that you presented it is very, very, very fun. Of course, I expected no less from you, but yeah, the
But of course,
and the villains, it's
I
not
had
what
you
something
with,
would traditionally expect in a non-fiction, but hey, you've surpassed that.
but with all the fillers and, to make it a little, like more dynamic and all, of course, I had you with me on my journey. So that,
Yeah,
thank you
yeah.
for that. So, like,
Every movie needs some masala. Yeah, we are from Bollywood. Right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
totally
And
get
who
it.
doesn't love Bollywood and Hollywood?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
Who doesn't? See, if you're there, you're looking craving for Bollywood. If you're here, you're like craving for Hollywood.
No, and some of my experiences in the camera section are
Uh,
not my experiences. Some of the examples, they're actually from either Bollywood or Hollywood.
yeah. And
Besides
in
my
fact,
personal experience.
while we're on movies, not to digress from the topic, but hey, from our south, we're getting such amazing pieces of work as well. It is like lovely to see some of those movies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like even like from Three Idiots, all is well. We says all is well, all is well. Well, does everything go well? No, it doesn't. Just by saying it again and again, you get that inner strength to
Affirmation. Yeah.
you get that inner strength to tackle the situation on hand better. So I mean that's an example in itself. So but people would relate to that, people who are Indian, and same with Hollywood. With my personal experiences, some case studies, so it's a mix of everything. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. So we've got experiences from Hong Kong coming in. We've got experiences from weddings, which, of course, you're an expert in. We've got experiences from Bollywood, from Hollywood. Oh my God! And not to mention your bread and butter, which is your life coaching as an internationally
Yes.
certified.
I am so happy. I'm on this path. I just wish I had started I don't know, years and years ago.
Oh,
But it has been a couple of years already, but I mean, it's something we all coach each other in personal life. Like we all help our family, friends, and relatives, right? We all do.
absolutely.
But then how will strangers come to you? Strangers come to you only when you have the credentials or the experience or the qualification. And that's where this whole field comes in professionally.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So
And I'm so pleased that you've been able to not share and showcase your expertise through your book.
I'm pretty low key, otherwise you know that. Like I'm not very good at
Right. So once,
By the way, Geetika is the one. Are ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karna hai. I said, hello. What? Okay, so put it on a schedule.
right. So would I be correct in saying that the book is pretty much for a very wide audience then? Or is it like a target audience in specific, or is it like everybody who's looking to evolve and grow? Who is it for really?
No, my next books maybe will be more specifically targeted to specific people. I'm not sure yet. But yes, this book is for anyone and everyone.
Right.
So a person who is, let's say, I would say around 15 years old, or a person who's 60.
Okay.
I'm sure, I guarantee you, they will find things in the book that they can actually apply and use in their lives. And also, it will transform their thought processes and give them that inner shift that they will need in some areas of their life. Of course, it varies from individual to individual. But I don't think there's anyone who will not get something out of it. And that's why the age range is, and that's why the book is simple.
So then tell me, let's say I'm a reader and I'm reading live camera action and I've finally reached like the last page and I'm like, okay, now I've closed it, right? So what is it that you want them to do after they like shut the book? What's that step that you want them to take in life after reading your book?
Okay, so that is the end step. When you will feel that you have transformed, I put it down, transformed from a beautiful caterpillar to a beautiful butterfly. Your life is that much more enriched and your levels of success and happiness are that much more elevated. Why a beautiful caterpillar? Because a caterpillar has a potential to be beautiful. So never call a caterpillar an ugly person.
A caterpillar. It's never just a caterpillar.
No, but what I mean to say, to close the book, frankly, Geetika, this is, I feel when I read the book, it's not a book to read from end to end in one go.
Okay.
Okay, so you can start off, or you can start off with certain sections, but it would be wonderful, and this would be my reward if people actually pick up things from it and start actually applying what they feel comfortable about applying.
Right.
Use the techniques and feel that change, feel that transformation, or feel the elevation of, being happier or more successful in that particular area. So it's not something you read from end to end. You can if you want. So
Sure.
if you do it one to one, then I would say then go back.
Mm.
Read it from end to end, then go back to whichever area you want to first and work on those areas.
Right,
So
right.
I
Because
would,
when you apply, that's when you actually get the true benefit. But
yes,
when you're reading, you're like inspired, right? But when
inspired,
you
but each
actually
sentence has a
act,
meaning. So sometimes not just the tips and techniques, maybe one sentence will be enough for you to create that shift.
hmm.
It may not be a tip in the book. It could be something just
That's
that
interesting.
I am ... You just
Yeah,
sit down
it's
and
like sometimes just reading something opens up a different window in your head, and you know, yeah,
yes.
that's true. That's
So
true.
even something like, okay, I mean, can really a caterpillar can be beautiful as well. I mean, like, and then you kind of think to yourself, a lot of people have this imposter syndrome, and they
Yeah.
think of themselves as not good, not good enough, or ugly, or whatever. And you can still be that butterfly, and you are beautiful as you are. I mean, if you want to look at it, any sentence can actually make meaning. But I want people to actually make meaning out of what they're reading from the book. And that is when I would feel like, indirectly that, okay, I've done my bit, or I made that much of a tiny difference or a little impact, or whatever you call it. Yeah. So you can choose your way. You think the bottom line is you can read from end to end and
Beautiful.
go back to those parts where you feel, okay, now, chalo, let me try this, or let me do this, or let me think of this. Just thinking and reflecting also is very important.
Hmm.
Or you can just do read bits and bits and
Yeah.
travel with it. I think it's a great thing to travel with, like I'm saying.
Once we can travel.
I mean, just keep it in because it's a self-help Bible. Just keep it like, when you have
Yeah.
time in between, you can always like go over or go back to something. And
Yeah, it's almost like a travel companion, a handbook,
yeah,
that you can keep referring back to.
yeah,
That's lovely. That's lovely.
yeah.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I'm sure. How have your readers been responding? Any initial reactions which you've got?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
How have your readers been responding? Any initial reactions?
No, there have been the initial reactions actually have been overwhelming. I didn't expect that, but I'm very happy it's happening. And of course, I have whoever has been giving me feedback. They gave me feedback. Then I said, okay, now give me your honest feedback.
I like that.
So
Yeah.
I would also like to know, okay, is there somewhere like, I should have done something more, or, maybe this could have gone into depth a little more. But yes, overall, the response has been overwhelming. And the people who have read it, not everyone has completed the book.
Sure.
They have their own way of completing it. Like I said, maybe in bits and pieces. But they found the book to be, I just read a review from one, I've just written that one review on Amazon by someone, I don't know who the person is, but thank you anyway, whoever the person is, if you're listening. This book is a gem. All ages should read it. It's a priceless possession in very simple words and lovely examples and similes. It teaches you so many ways to be happy and touches every aspect of your life. A big thanks to Veena for making life so lovable and simple to live.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's just like it's just one of those, and I just kind of felt, and coming from someone you don't know, I guess I say that, but make it more meaningful.
Absolutely. So, of course, there are the tangible benefits of becoming a published author, tangible benefits of having a book to your name, but there is no way that you can actually even quantify the intangible feelings that you get when you hear from a complete stranger who's
Yeah. Somehow, whatever I do in my life, I value strangers' feedback a lot.
Yeah, unbiased, completely unbiased, right?
Unbiased. Yeah. The bias I value from my known people. The other people will actually then give it to you when you ask them for it.
Yeah.
But I love both sides to it, and I just feel I'm growing and getting better. Yeah.
Brilliant. Any final words to budding authors? Hey, how could we forget the authors? Readers, of course, but what about authors who are thinking about writing a book or started writing a book or are wondering whether we should do what Veena's done. Can we do what Veena's done?
Well, guys, you have me an example, so don't wonder anymore.
Actually.
Just let yourself go and write with your heart. So whether you're writing fiction or non-fiction, just start penning down. And of course, I mean, you have Geetika there, like, join her workshop if you want to, like, know about the structure. Not only that, I mean, Geetika also helps you understand how you can creatively think and what are the certain areas you should delve into. So there are little fine points here and there, which of course, I mean, you'll know in the workshop. But yes, and don't only think about writing. Like I've been thinking,
Yeah.
So actually, like Mel Robbins, I think it was Mel Robbins, she has that rule of 5. So count 5 backwards and just take the next step in action.
Yeah.
And 5, and just like
not to overthink.
That will start and do what it takes to become a published author.
Brilliant. Yeah. And what better way than getting your book out than hitting number 1 in hot new releases on day 1. That was really the icing on the cake. Yeah, I know we talk about feelings and all that, but hey, number 1.
I wouldn't have even looked it up. And when you was like, okay, look. And I said, yeah, wow, okay.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Veena. It's as always, it's been a complete riot and pleasure talking to you. And for a change now, this time our conversation will go out to so many others who will have the pleasure of hearing you and your thoughts and know more about your book, Live Camera Action. For all of those who are watching, just like Veena said, if you are thinking about writing, then write a book, don't overthink. And if you're thinking about reading, that too, don't overthink. Go ahead and get a copy for yourself of Live Camera and Action so that you can focus the spotlight on you.
Yes, on you. Yes, so friends, just keep connected with Geetika and keep connected with me on my social handles and pick up the book for sure. And yes, thank you, Geetika. You have been wonderful. You've been an absolute darling. You've been a great support. And really speaking, I remember the word you used at the beginning, trigger. So you are my emotional trigger to actually take that step. And I think my next milestone, besides the other things I have in mind, will be to write another book.
Ooh, now that's what I call. Brilliant. Testimony to the fact of you're becoming a serial killer writer. Yes, fantastic. Lovely, Veena. I cannot wait for that to happen. But before that, I would love for more and more people to experience the book, not just read the book, but experience the book and feel that shift, that change in their mindset and in their small baby steps that they can incorporate in their life. Because, I think when you're focusing on the right stuff, which in this case is you yourself, you experience certain shifts in your life. And like I tell people, ultimately, you don't have to take like huge, big decisions to always reach some place. Just by taking a small shift, you've actually changed the direction of your life completely.
And I'd be very grateful, Geetika. I mean, and everyone knows who has picked up the book, you can always connect with me on my email. And I would love to know your thoughts. I would love to know what you are thinking, how it's helping, how it's not helping. And I truly mean that. And I would really love to connect with more of you in whichever way possible. So do reach out. And yes, let's just go on your journey together.
Thank you. Thank you, Veena. That was beautiful. And that was a beautiful message for your readers out there as well. Thank you so much for joining us today, Veena.
Thank you so much, Geetika. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.